Tonight, new lawsuits directed towards Harvard.
And WSU continues the search for a new provost.
And the sale of a Vista denied. Murrow News 8 starts now.
From Studio B on the campus of Washington State University, this is Pullman's only nightly newscast. This is Murrow News 8.
Welcome into Studio B for the final time of the semester. I'm Mackenzie Foster.
And I'm Taylor Swanson. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
Today marks the third day since several national fraternities and sororities sued Harvard University. Jennifer Forsman gives us an update on the lawsuit as well as how this affects students on our campus.
Thanks, Mackenzie. As of right now, the Stand Up to Harvard petition has reached over 61,000 signatures. There are several people here on our campus who have changed their social media profiles to reflect supporting the petition. I spoke to a few of them to see how they feel about the lawsuit.
Sororities especially were founded because women needed a space on campus to be intellectuals together.
According to the 2016 rule, students who are members of single-gender clubs are barred from leading campus groups or becoming captains of sports teams. Harvard also refuses to endorse students for prestigious fellowships. Single-gender clubs are defined by the rule as fraternities, sororities, musical groups, and more. Harvard did make an exception to the rule. Secretive all-male groups, known as final clubs, are a prominent part of Harvard's history, thus still endorsed by the university. The lawsuit challenges Harvard's rule, claiming it to be sexist and in violation of Title IX. The suit says the policy singles out men and women for punishment based on their sex.
By trying to make it inclusive like they are, they're actually stripping away a lot of privacy and rights.
Currently, the lawsuit demands a jury trial and asks the court to prevent Harvard from enforcing this policy. As for now, the Stand Up to Harvard petition brings to light the concept that this policy allows some same-gender organizations but not others. Reporting on Greek Row, I'm Jennifer Forsman, Murrow News 8.
With the most recent E. coli outbreak in romaine lettuce, I took a look at how WSU's dining services protect students from exposure to foodborne illness and administer food safety.
The CDC currently reported 43 cases of romaine lettuce-related E. coli in 12 different states, none of which included Washington State, potentially due to the promptness of food safety in organizations like WSU's Food and Dining Services.
Normally it'll be kept up to date on different recalls by the vendor, and they should be getting those notifications and then returning the product back to the vendor if there's an outbreak.
Based on a number of tests administered to those affected by the outbreak, results show the E. coli stems from the Central Coast growing regions of Northern and Central California. With this information, some retailers may begin selling romaine lettuce from other regions, but consumers should be advised to check for labels and harvest locations.
If you do plan on purchasing romaine lettuce from one of your local retailers, be sure to check the box, bag, or a sticker on your lettuce to make sure that it is not from the California region. If it lacks a label from the harvested location, then do not purchase or consume the lettuce.
As for WSU Food and Dining Services, in order to ensure student safety, dining halls won't serve any romaine lettuce until the outbreak has cleared.
One issue with this particular strain of E. coli is that
If you like country music, you might be in luck. Country star Hunter Hayes may be coming to Pullman this spring. Hayes received the most votes in a Twitter poll asking people who they want to see over Mom's Weekend. The poll administered by Beasley Coliseum had 4 choices and received nearly 700 votes. Hayes won with 37%, followed by a a cappella group, Pentatonics, with 35% and the rock band Daughtry with 15%.
When we return, we'll tell you about some changes that might be in the works for Pullman Regional Hospital.
And some more ways for you to get in the holiday spirit. Stay with us.
Mom, can we get some ice cream? Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Yeah. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Washington State utility regulators denied $5.3 billion sale of Spokane-based Avista Corporation to a Canadian utility company. The Washington Utilities and Transportation Commission said the proposed merger with the Toronto-based Hydro One Limited doesn't adequately protect Avista or their customers from political or financial risk, and that does not reflect the public interest.
The Pullman Regional Hospital Commissioners will place a $29 million construction bond before voters in April. The project, called The Next Era of Excellence, calls for a 45,000 square foot expansion to the hospital on Bishop Boulevard. The expansion would include space for the Center for Women's and Children's Health, doctor's offices, a medical residency program, simulation labs for training, and a new community-wide electronic medical record system. Dr. Dan Bernardo announced on Monday he was stepping down as provost. Bernardo is staying on part-time until a new provost is brought on. President Kirk Scholz said a national search will take place to find the replacement. The school will put together a search committee from members of the WSU community. Bernardo has 14 years in WSU leadership. The Whitman County Humane Society takes in as many needy animals as they possibly can, but overcrowding has become an issue. Noah Schmick reports on a new addition to the society that will help things run more smoothly in the future.
The Whitman County Humane Society cares for anywhere between 50 to 200 pets during certain times of the year, but the shelter itself struggles to handle the number of pets with such a small facility located on the outskirts of southern Pullman.
Some of the struggles are space, obviously. We don't have a lot of it. Our office is very small, and so it's hard to have intimate conversations with potential adopters or people who are surrendering their animals too. It's a very stressful time for them, and we don't want it to be a stressful time. We want them to know the animal's going to be well taken care of.
Small, cramped, and stressful perfectly describes the feelings of not only the staff, but the cats as well. So when a new addition broke ground in November, Destovsky's worries were suddenly lifted.
Well, it's been a dream for a very long time, years, but we finally decided, you know what, it's time to do it, and we're going to make a big campaign for it.
That big campaign received minimal support until a tragic event sparked a wave of donations. Pullman native Lauren McCluskey died in October during her senior year at the University of Utah. McCluskey loved spending time with cats at the shelter during her high school days, so her family started a fund in her name to benefit the shelter.
The Lauren McCluskey Fund and other donors have raised enough money to build a 400-foot feline center for the Whitman County Humane Society.
It's something special that I think will not only help our community and help out the cats and stuff, but it'll also help honor her.
The shelter decided on naming the new wing after Lauren McCluskey, and the wing will finish construction by the start of spring. Noah Schmick, Murrow News 8.
If you feel a little crafty or like hand making some holiday gifts for this year, check out the SYG Nursery in Pullman this Saturday to participate in a holiday wreath making class. For $25 a person, you'll get all the materials you need to make a festive holiday wreath. The class starts at 10 a.m. Saturday morning. And on the topic of holiday cheer, here's another festive event for you to check out, and for a good cause. This Friday, Alternatives to Violence on the Palouse will host a Home for the Holidays Gingerbread House fundraiser. Bring your whole family. They'll have kids' activities and games, plus a bar, raffle, live music, and food. You can buy tickets at the door for $20. The good news, December signals the end of the semester.
The bad news, the weather just keeps getting colder.
Next, Guillermo Mota joins us with what you can expect for your finals week forecast. We'll be right back.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
No more pencils, no more books.
No more teachers, dirty looks. School's out
for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org because great things happen when we live united.
I know our weather anchor, Guillermo Mota, does not enjoy this weather as it keeps getting colder.
Yeah, definitely not. I've talked to him about that. Guillermo, how are you holding up?
I woke up this morning to my toes being completely frozen. They were completely like ice cubes. Like I have small toes, so they're like small ice cubes. But look at that, 18 for the dew point today. That was horrible for me. I don't know how y'all doing back home. I hope you're staying warm. But if you look at the state, they did not wake up with ice cubes in their toes like I did, because Seattle, Olympia, Vancouver, they're all sitting in the mid-40s, having their time of their lives with their cool 40s. I mean, it's not 90s, but it's also not 0 or 20s like we were here in Pullman. And if we look at tomorrow's weather, would you look at that? It's not looking promising either. So make sure you stay warm, because I know I don't have class tomorrow or any exams. So I'm gonna go home, lay down in my blanket, warm up a little bit, because I cannot do with this weather. And if we look at the 5-day forecast, we got Saturday and Sunday at 34 and 38 at the highs respectively. Monday and Tuesday cloudy with 36 and 36, with both of them. And then on Wednesday, expect a little bit of snow. So make sure you get your big coats out there like I brought the other day, because we need those in order to stay warm. And Taylor and Mackenzie, I hope you guys are staying warm, because I am not doing this ever again, because Pullman, I'm not doing this. I do not like it, but you know what? I do enjoy a little bit more of the snow, because even though it's cold, I do enjoy making some those snowballs you guys call it. I don't know what you guys call it. I'm not from here. I'm from Guatemala. I'm going back there. I'll be here in December, because this is not my weather. So I hope y'all have a good time, and back to you at the desk.
Yeah, my heat in my car doesn't even work, so I've just been suffering driving around every day, and I have to get my debit card and just pry all the ice off my windshield. It's horrible.
Yeah, last year on my way back from break, I literally had to pull over and put another pair of pants on. It was so cold. But after the break, we'll tell you how one man turned himself in via his own wanted ad.
This is a story you do not want to miss. We'll be right back.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft. To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course.
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Wanted Wednesday paid off in Richland, Washington last week. Police asked the public to find Anthony Akers when he missed court. The police posted about him on Facebook. Akers saw the Richland Police Department post and on Facebook and replied with, "Calm down, I'm going to turn myself in." He now is in jail, but not after a few funny posts. He replied with, "Dear RPD, it's not you, it's me. I obviously have commitment issues, and I apologize for standing you up." This one all made us LOL for real.
Yeah, it did.
Well, this is our last news show altogether, and we want to thank you for tuning in to Pullman's only nightly newscast.
Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for our final sports show one last time. Good night, Pullman, and go Cougs.
Go Cougs!
Go Cougs!
From Studio B on the campus of Washington State University, this is your weekly sports update on WSU's Cougar Corner.
Welcome to WSU Cougar Corner. I'm Dax McCoy.
And I'm Matt King. Thanks for joining us. Last night in the battle for the Palouse took place at Friel Court as WSU took on the University of Idaho. Reporter Taylor Swanson went to the game and has the recap.
WSU entered the game with a 4-2 record,
coming off of a tough loss at New Mexico State. To start off the action, transfer guard C.J. Ellerby made his presence felt on the offensive end of the court, leading the Cougs in scoring during the first half. Ellerby broke down the Cougars' keys to success in the opening minutes of the game.
I think we just shut down the lanes. We really emphasized it when we were talking in the locker room at halftime. And so just playing with a little bit more energy and then getting the stops and running in transition.
Later in the action, senior guard and last season's Pac-12 Most Improved Player, Robert Franks Jr., caught fire from behind the arc, nailing back-to-back threes to give the Cougars a 5-point lead going into the half. Franks spoke on the team's slow start in the first half.
I mean, their zone kind of slowed us down, and once we started getting stops and getting running, it was kind of back to Cougar basketball.
Ellerby and Franks ran up the stat sheet, both finishing with over 20 points in the game and leading the Cougs to a 90-70 win and avenging their 20-point loss from the Vandals from last season. Coach Ernie Kent spoke on the Cougs' victory.
When you come back in this building and have a crowd like we had tonight, it was so neat to see the students over there because I can't tell you enough what that does for us defensively. We had 8 straight stops in a row. The difference in the game tonight was obviously CJ and Robo, their points, our depth in the bench, and just have a little bit more experience.
WSU improves to 5-2 on the season and will host the Montana State Bobcats this upcoming Sunday in Beasley Coliseum. Taylor Swanson, Murrow, News 8.
After one of the most memorable seasons of Cougar football in recent memory, head coach Mike Leach and quarterback Gardner Minshew received major Pac-12 awards. Leach received Pac-12 Coach of the Year. This marks Leach's second Coach of the Year award since arriving at Washington State. He shared the first one with Stanford coach David Shaw in 2015. Minshew earned the distinction of Conference Offensive Player of the Year and was named to the first team All-Pac-12.
Every sports team has its fans, and WSU is no different. Reporter Guillermo Mota joins us to introduce one of the biggest student fans on campus.
With 2 of our teams currently in the postseason, I wanted to find out how WSU does with its fans, like if there's anyone out there that stands out or if there's anyone that attends every single game. So here we go. This is what I did.
Disrespectful dunks. Deep three-pointers. Unbelievable catches.
Murray lofts one up for what a catch!
And the fan interaction set the environment at every sporting event. Those certain details in sports make them entertaining to watch and experience. In that experience, the fans seem to stand out the most. Some fans are loud, some are quiet, and some are extremely loyal. Take the Knicks for example. The Knicks have Spike Lee. On the other coast, the LA Lakers have Jack Nicholson. And even professional athletes become super fans for their favorite teams, such as Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors, who bleeds blue for the Carolina Panthers. But who is the super fan for WSU? Some would say Jordan Frost, or Pink Band Guy. He cannot be missed. What about Butch? They all have fans of their own. But there's one for you to consider. You may not know his name, but if you have ever attended any sport events at WSU, whether it's soccer, volleyball, or football, you can always find him in the front row, cheering for the Cougs. This is Jamie Vinnick.
It really wasn't ever a second thought. From the day I got here, every football game, front row, 10-yard line. It's been the same way the last 4 years of my life here. Every basketball game, front row. And as I kind of started to get more and more involved within the school, it started to be volleyball and soccer and baseball.
At WSU, Cougs will tell you they are diehards for the teams, that they bleed crimson and gray, but Vinnick actually does.
To me, it's kind of become like part of my life in a sense where my mood swings depending on if the Cougs win or lose. If the Cougs lose, I'm going to have a bad day. I could have everything else go right that day, but if the Cougs lost, then it didn't matter. I could win $1 million and I still wouldn't feel the full effect of it.
But being a Cougar super fan is more than collecting the gear or waving the flag or even supporting the teams. It's about a connection with the crimson and gray.
To me, it's just almost like a second instinct. I see a game on the schedule, I'm like, okay, well, that's what I'm doing that night. You know, friends will ask me, oh, you want to go out? You want to do this? No, there's a game tonight. can't go. And they've grown to just know that that's what's going to happen.
Vinnick attends almost every single home Cougar game, and when he doesn't cheer alone, because superfans that cheer for the same teams can automatically become best friends.
When I met Jamie in the student section of a basketball game, we clicked and we got along really, really well, and then so we feed off of each other, which is really cool.
And their support definitely does not go under the radar, as their passion carries on to the court or field.
That's what fosters that family community that's really unique to WSU. We go to other Pac-12 schools and it just does not feel like how Bowler feels. And that really comes from the fans who are there and they're in it and they're standing, and they're a huge part of our success.
Vinnick has a year left at WSU as an undergraduate. That means the end of his era is near.
I want to be able to leave a legacy that when I graduate, people know who Jamie Vinnick is. I think a lot of the times the people who make the most impact on a campus are, the athletes. Gardner Minshew, going back, Klay Thompson, Luke Falk, and those guys. And that makes absolute sense. They're the ones being showcased. They're the ones who have a gift. So for someone who has loved sports from a very young age, never really had the athletic talent, didn't play any further beyond my freshman year of high school, I want to be able to walk away from WSU and people to know, oh yeah, at least for a few years, there was that Jamie Vinnick guy who was at every game and was loud and, was just absolutely crazy, to where, the year after I graduate, which will be the 2020-2021 year, people to notice a difference in the student section.
As long as Jamie Vinnick bleeds crimson and gray, he will cheer for the Cougs. The question remains, who will be the next Jamie Vinnick? That is for you to answer, Pullman. From the Palouse, Guillermo Mota, Murrow News 8.
When we come back, Dax and Guillermo will debate whether or not WSU should have received an invite to a New Year's Six Bowl when we come back.
The great outside.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
So shiny.
We both love the outdoors.
That's not a flower.
And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't use this one.
He helps me with my decision making.
Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
With the football season over and the Cougars heading to the Valero Alamo Bowl in San Antonio, many, including Coach Leach, have expressed disappointment in the destination. Dax, is Coach Leach right for being disappointed in not getting an invite to a New Year's Six Bowl?
He absolutely is right for not getting into a New York Six Bowl. I mean, we're talking about Washington State here. Washington State on this year played against, let's see here, number 17 Utah at the time. Now they lost to USC. That's the one real black mark they had against them. And that one black mark, that game was stolen from them. Let's be honest right now. If you and me are looking at each other honestly, we know that Gardner Minshew took a shot to the head, which should have put him on the inside the 1 yard line. Which is WSU going to score there? Probably. And so we look at the rest of their schedule. They lose once to Washington, and again, we can blame the snow for that. But you look at the rest of their schedule. You got Oregon, you got Stanford, and then you got a bunch of blowout games. And then on top of that, they're ranked second in the nation in passing. And if they play in a dome or a covered or there's no snow against UW, they're probably going to be number one. Now you take a look at these other teams that got in the top 12 that shouldn't be there. UCF, are you kidding me? Who did UCF play all this year that was any good? They played Cincinnati, and that's really the only team that they played that was any good. And by the way, that was a quality win. But the rest of it, ridiculous. Penn State, same case. Not very good games all there.
Well, all I hear is excuses because, first of all, USC, you should have won that game because you shouldn't have let it gone all the way to the end. Come on. That was an easy game to win. And then you barely won against Wyoming, which was an embarrassing game because the first half.
think we're going to have to cut that short a little bit.
Anyways, when we get back, we take a look at the Cougs in the pros next on Cougar Corner. I don't know what
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it. Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
The great outside.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
So shiny.
We both love the outdoors. That's not a flower. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play or even what you wear. You just need to be there. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
As for our weekly edition of Cougs in the Pros, we start in the NBA. Klay Thompson put up 16 points in a rematch of the NBA Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers on Wednesday, helping propel the Warriors to a win, 129-105. Aaron Baines of the Boston Celtics continues to produce off the bench, averaging just under 6 points and 4 rebounds a game. Moving into the NFL, linebacker Frankie Louvu had a couple of tackles and a sack of fellow Pac-12 alumni Marcus Mariota and the Jets' 26-22 loss to the Tennessee Titans on Sunday.
That is all we have for you in the final edition of WSU Cougar Corner for the spring semester of 2018.
Join us again next semester, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Go Cougs!
Follow us too, at Famous Dax.